Theruvan Saranai. I welcome everyone to the session. We are going to start the session. Please make sure that your microphones are muted during the session, and you can unmute the microphones when the question and answering time. Thank you, Theruvan Saranai. Theruvan Saranai Swamin Wahanse, I would like to invite you to begin the session. Theruvan Saranai අවසරයි.
Everyone, Saranai, everyone. So today also we are going to have a meditation session based on our past discussions and past kammattanas that we have discussed. So today also the setting is like this. So we'll start with a new kammattana, and after explaining the kammattana, we'll go on with the meditation session for about approximately 1 hour or more than that. And at the end, if you have any questions regarding the practical aspects of how meditation is done, and any practical questions that you had during the meditation session, or any question regarding Dhamma, you can ask anything, and we'll go on with the question and answer session, and at the end, and we'll wind up the session with that. So we'll start with our kammatthana. So today the kammatthana is a Pali kammatthana. So it goes like this. I think we have discussed this before, but since the individuals who are participating today are quite new, and the name and the setting of our last or the previous meditation program was changed, and this was started as a new session, new program. So we'll anyway go through the kammatthana and go through with the discussion, and that will help for the ones who already know about this kammatthana, as well as the ones who will be knowing this in a short while. So the kammatthana is Sabbe Sankhara Anichati Yada Panyaya Pasati Ata Nibbindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visuddhya. Sabbe Sankhara Dukkhati Yada Panyaya Pasati Ata Nibbindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visuddhya. Sabbe Dhamma Anattati Yada Panyaya Pasati Ata Nibbindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visuddhya. These are the three stanzas, or three gathas that we are going to recite. And before reciting, it is not just reciting something or reciting words. We are going to think about the deep meaning of what is being said while we are saying it. So it starts with anicca. So sabbe sankhara anicchati. What does that mean? So the second verse is Yada Panyaya Pasati. If you understand this concept, or if you understand this reality of this world, which is Sabbe Sankhara Anichati, Ata Nibbindati Dukkhe, you will be free from suffering. You will not be bound to suffering. So Ata Nibbindati Dukkhe, Esa Maggo Visuddhya. That is the pathway to enlightenment. So those are the meaning of the last three verses. So if we understand the first verse, that explains everything. So what is the meaning of the first verse? Sabbe sankhara anicchati. So sabbe means every. Sankhara means action. We have body reactions, and we have words, or we have talking, and we have thinking. Thinking, talking, and acting. Acting means body reactions. So these are the three things that sattva or sentient beings perform in their day-to-day life. This is what we call life. This is how we spend our life. We speak, we think, and we do things, do certain things. That is, as a whole, that is our life. So it says all of that is anicca. What does that mean? Anicca means you cannot control, or you cannot have your wish, or we cannot make your wish come true solely based on your wish. So if we simplify that, you cannot have something according to your expectation. So we think, we expect things to happen in a certain way, but in reality, they have their own set of causes. So these causes are what creates the effect, not our expectation. So for example, we'll go through example and see. So we have a room, and in this room we have a dark room, and we have a unlit bulb. So there's a bulb, LED bulb or whatever in the room, and it is not lit. So the room is dark, and there's a switch to turn this bulb on. So if you turn the switch on, the bulb lights up and the darkness goes away. And what you do unconsciously is you expect, your expectation is to make the bulb lit. And when you go, and after that, you go and turn on the switch. When you turn it on, the bulb works, or it lights up, and the room is not dark anymore. And at that point, you decide your expectation came true and you become happy. But what if you understand that your expectation didn't play any role in that mechanism? Because even if you expect, or even if you don't expect, if the switch is turned on and all the causes that should align to make the bulb light up is currently available, was currently available, the bulb would light up. The bulb would light up regardless of whether you want it to light up or you don't want it to light up, if the switch is turned on and and all the other causes are aligned. So that is how the world is. So let's say you have the expectation, may this light bulb, or may this bulb light up, and you switch it on, the bulb lights up. So in the second instance, you have this idea, may this bulb not light up, and you switch it on. Still the the bulb is lighting up. So you can understand now the expectation part is not interfering or influencing the system, but you have that idea. Your expectation came true, and that's why you became happy when the bulb is lighted up. Let's say there was no current, or there was a power cut for 24 hours. And after 24 hours, you light it, or you switch on the bulb, switch on the switch it on, and you expect the bulb to light up. I hope the bulb will light up. I hope the uh, current is back on, electricity is on. So with this expectation, you turn it on. Then the bulb lights up. Then you become happy. Now there's no reason to be happy if you understand that there's no role with role of expectation here. Expectation is just a illusion or a mirage. There's no water in the mirage. Just like that, it is just a lie, a scam. This you always get tricked by this scam and you become happy. So the thing is, it is okay to be happy, but happiness, this kind of happiness, comes with a shortcoming. That is, when it does not light up, you feel disappointed, you feel betrayed, so you become angry or sad. I switched it on, still the current is not back on, electricity is not back on. You become sad. But if you know the reality, if you know how the world works, then you would not go there. You would understand if all the causes align, then the effect will occur. If all the causes did not align, if even one cause did not align, then the effect would not occur. So the result, which is in this example, the lighting of a bulb cannot be controlled by my expectation. So why expect anyway? You just go and switch it on without any expectation. Because expectation is a problem here. So you say that now sabbe sankhara. Now this applies to all the sankhara. So what are all the actions? Just switching on a bulb, so light bulb is not all the things that we do. We do other things. We raise our hands, we walk, we talk, we think, and we do certain other things, driving, talk, and eating, and whatever the thing you name it. You we can have anything. So all of these things are also anicca. So expectation does not play any role in here. Yes, expectation does play a role, but it does not affect the effect, because expectation does not affect the system or the mechanism of how the effect is uh, bring about. But there's a effect, or the this expectation act as a cause for something else. Here, if the expectation is created, that act as a cause for suffering. So expectation is the cause, result is the suffering. You become fearful. You expect to become the first from the exam, from the race, from whatever thing. You expect to get a promotion. You expect to buy a car. You expect your loved one to arrive at the airport. When you expect, it starts with suffering, and it starts with fear. Initially, fear. You fear that you would be able to become the first in the race. You are fearful whether you will be able to become the the best person, or you are fearful whether your loved one would arrive at the airport on time, or something bad would happen. This would always be there when you have that expectation. But if you know that this is causes and effects playing their game, that you don't have any role with the expectation to play here, you would not have that attached expectation there. So when you don't have that attachment, that expectation, especially you can apply attachment here, because it emphasizes the effect or the idea more other than the expectation. You can add attachment. When you are attached to that, then when the things go wrong, you become so frustrated. You end up suffering. You end up sad, um, or agitated or angry or whatever the negative outcomes that comes when things doesn't go as planned would occur. And until that point, you would be in fear whether that everything would go wrong. You're in fear. So that is how this works. So the thing is, your expectation doesn't play any role on your loved one's arrival at the airport. What it creates is suffering. So this expectation and everything, attachment and everything causes suffering. Whole other set of causes acts for the that loved person to arrive at the airport. So these are two independent systems. One creates suffering, and one creates the effect. So you have to understand this. So when you understand that, even you'd understand that moving, that means walking or raising your hand, are all like that. If you can raise your hand with the expectation that it should not rise, you can raise your hand with the expectation that it should rise. In either setting, that expectation did not play any uh, that did not influence the effect of what happens. Yes, the effort is should be there. We have to separate the effort with expectation. You have to put the effort, otherwise the hand would not raise. So say you are raising your hand or bending your hand, your forearm at the elbow joint, and when you are bending it, you are thinking, my hand should not raise or bend. But you have to put the effort, because it is a part of the system that the bending or the mechanism of bending needs the cause, which is effort. Other, if effort is not if effort was not applied, it is just like you not turning on the switch and expecting the bulb to light up, because turning on and off, the turning on the switch or turning it off is one of the main key um, causes that affects the lighting of a bulb. Just like that, here at the elbow joint, if you did not put effort, then it would not work, because it is one of the causes that makes the elbow joint work. So you put the effort, but your expectation here is that the hand should not raise, or hand should not, or the forearm should not bend. And surprisingly, it works. And your expectation did not come true. So you become frustrated. Why? My body doesn't allow, listen to me, or does not work as I say, as I think. It is working against me, because I wanted it not to raise, but the hand just got raised. So you have the expectation it should bend at the elbow joint, and you put the effort, and the effort is created. And since all the causes are aligned, your hand would bend at the elbow joint. And is it um, justified if you put all the credit to your expectation and nothing to the mechanism? And the reality is, it's all the mechanism that got the job done. None of it was by the expectation. It is something else. It's just like a bystander. And this bystander is trouble, because it creates suffering. Now, that's anicca. That is anicca at sankhara level. Sabbe sankhara aniccati. That's why you can see all the suffering that we generate with our mental constructs is because we don't know this reality. We think we can control things according to expectation, and we try to control our parents, we try to control our children, try to control our surrounding, we try to control the living things as well as non-living things, but they are controlled by a whole another set of causes, and because of that they break, they get stolen, they get destroyed, broken, and whatever the thing could happen. And since we are thinking that we are in charge and we are controlling them, we become sad and we start suffering. And this is how the world is. If you know how the world works, then you would not expect that much from the world, and you would see these are, if you try to hang on to these and try to control these and try to manipulate these with your expectation, then you get disappointed one day because you would feel like you are controlling them. It is not because of your expectation, but all the causes are getting aligned accordingly. And the expected result and the result given by the alignment of causes, since these two are equal or similar, you'd get tricked that you are the one controlling them. Just like when you are driving, you think that you have the perfect control over your car. But in reality, if one of the gadgets or one of the parts that should be there, vital parts that should be there in work, that should be working in the car, got loose or started malfunctioning, then you'd not be able to control your car. So all this while, it is not because of your expectation. Yes, because of your effort. Effort is there. Effort works because effort, even if you put the effort, or other person put the effort, or even a robot or a AI put the effort, it will work. Your expectation did not play any role there. That is what we need to understand. So, what if the brake pedals did not work? Then would it work according to expectation? No, it would go rogue, and it would meet with an accident, and you'd get all the blame. I am the one responsible for that. In reality, you are the causes were responsible. You are not responsible for the good things as well as the bad things. This does not mean you can do anything you want, because when you do anything you want, so let's say the bad things, and say that this is because of all the causes. So when you know the reality, the thing what happens is the value given to the world, since you are not, you understand these are not things that gives pleasure, happiness. Instead, they are actually controlling us. No, it is not that we are controlling them, but they are controlling us. How does that work? So when we get attached to something, when we get attached to a let's say image, we want that image to prevail, or we want that image there, and we don't want it to change. We don't want it to break. We don't want it to shatter. We don't want anything bad happen to it, the picture. But in reality, these things get stolen, broken, get shattered, get dark and dirty, and at the end, they end in demise. So these things has a natural way. Oh, it is the nature. It's how the world works. It's the law of nature. Now, when that is how the world works, and when we have some other expectations, let's say we like this image of our body, and we are young, and we have black hair, we have nice, perfect skin, we have nice voice, nice eyes, and all the our body is in great shape. Now we like this image. We don't want it to change. But this body, as everything else, goes through this journey. It starts with it started at birth, or let's say even before birth, when at the as a fetus. It started as a fetus, and it'll end as a corpse at the death. So in between, we have a deteriorating, or changing, constantly changing body. So we are getting attached to one of the images which is there during that period. Let's say at about 25, we get attached to that image. I like this image and I don't want it to change. But it is not the reality. You cannot control according to expectation. Expectation does not play any role here. But since this is a very slow process, you think you are able to do that. When you are not able to do that, you do all the 1,001 things in the market, or in the vicinity or surrounding, that you can apply, that you can do, that you can change, and those things are done to your body. And you apply makeup, you dye your hair, you do surgeries, you do other cosmetic procedures, and by that you try to somehow keep that image to your ideal image which is in your mind. You try to do that, and this is a tug of war, and you always lose in this tug of war, because you are having a tug of war with reality, so you lose. So that is how the suffering starts. If you accept, and if you know, and if you know the reality, which is anicca, one of the aspects of it is anicca. When you know that, you not bother, because you know anyway, if you do something or do not do something, it will have its natural course. And when you have that, when you know that, you would not give such value to this item or this image. Because if you give so much value to this image, it will make you suffer, and you don't want that. You don't want suffering in your life. So you would get independent from that image, and you would say anything may happen to that image. I have no control, and there's no expecting things from that. So I'll just let it let it go the way how it is, and I'll be free. So you don't care. So suffering does not occur at that point, because there's no expectation this should work this way. So you have gotten rid of that, because you know, you have understood the essenceless nature. Again, that anatta also plays a part here. You have seen the suffering nature, how things can be suffering if you get attached. So attachment is the cause of suffering. You can attach to anything, so anything becomes a liability, or liability of suffering. It is you can suffer on anything. You just have to attach to that item. Let's say you like a rock, a piece of rock, because it was given to you by some important person of your life, and this is just a piece of rock, but you remind somebody because of this piece of rock. Now, a piece of rock can make you cry. A piece of rock can make you suffer. If it was stolen, if it was broken, if it was taken away, then you suffer. But it was just a piece of rock for another person, for all the people in the world except you. For you, it's a piece of suffering. not a piece of rock. So just like that, everything has this effect of suffering in them. You just have to attach to them to experience that. So when the attachment is gone, you no longer suffer. So this is anicca. So whatever you do, you raising your hand, you thinking, you working, or you talking, or you doing other things, everything is actually because of this. Um, um, you think that you think that you are able to control these things with your expectations, but this you cannot. So that is anicca. Sabbe sankhara anicchate. The thought process is also like that. When all the causes aligned for you to become angry, when the other person or or your enemy or the person that you don't like comes in front of you or walks in front of you, you become angry and you are not able to control. Your expectation is to have a calm and nice demeanor and talk to that person nicely, but you get angry as soon as you see this person. No control. Oh, expectation. You become a virtuous person and you become you observe sil or you observe precepts on a poor day, and you think I should get rid of these cravings of myself, and a nice plate of food was kept in front of you, or you can smell the aroma of food. Now your mind starts racing toward that direction and you cannot stop thinking about food, but your expectation is to have a calm and nice demeanor again at the at this occasion, but you can't. Again, ragakyo is nibbana, dosakyo mohakyo is nibbana. If you can do that, it is just a mental process. If you can do that mentally, then you attain nibbana. What is stopping you? If you can do something according to expectation, you can control this mind according to expectation, what's stopping you? Because we cannot. It is happening when the causes are aligned, the effect is occurring. Now this is very illusional. The normal nature is very illusional, so we get tricked all the time because avidya is so powerful in this world. The ignorance is so powerful, it acts as um, a illusion. So it is just like somebody showing magic. So if you have not seen the trick, we'll get amazed, we get attached. But as soon as we see the trick, we understood how this trick is performed, there's no magic anymore. You just feel like you got betrayed. You were tricked. That is how you feel. So exactly same thing happens with avijja. When you see how avijja works, when you see how you were suffering out of nothing, you were suffering, and the cause of suffering was just attachment and nothing else. What you thought make you suffer was not the thing actually made you suffer. It was the attachment. So you have to understand these things, and that is anicca. So I hope that is clear. Sabbe sankara anicchati. So you understood the next three verses. Yada panyaya pasati atani bindati dukke samago visuddhya. If you understand this reality or wisdom, then you would be free from suffering, and that is the pathway to enlightenment. Sabbe sankara dukkhati. Now we have explained that part as well. We understood that everything has this suffering in them, but we are not going to suffer as long as we are not getting attached. Attachment is the link that is that 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 makes the bridge between us and that item, and that bridge is suffering. So bridge of suffering is created with the item and us by the attachment. So when this bridge is created, we suffer because of that item. Just like the example we took, just a piece of rock can make you suffer because you are attached to that piece of rock. And this suffering can be so severe. If the attachment is severe, that is directly proportional to the suffering. So the amount of attachment is directly proportional to the amount of suffering that you are going to get. So if you get attached so much, suffering becomes so much. So if you are attached less, the suffering is less. So that is how this works. So sabbe sankara dukkhati, again, yada panyaya pasati, ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. So these are the things. This is the same thing, but with dukkha. So I hope you understand these four sentences, 4 lines as well. So the last one, sabbe dhamma anattati. So dhamma is this mechanism. All the mechanisms are dhamma. So there are mechanisms that work in this world. So this is not the pure correct terminology, but this is the this is the closest we can get. So Dhamma has a different idea when it comes to Pali, but when I'm going to explain it in a single word, it is something like a mechanism. So there's a mechanism to become a god. If you work according to that mechanism, you would become a god. There's a mechanism for you to become a human again. There's a mechanism for you to become a dog, a cat, any other animal, and there's a mechanism for you to become, let's say, a preta, that's a ghost, or a hellish animal, or a brahma. Or there are 31 planes of sattva or sentient beings. You can become anybody if you complete the mechanism. If all the causes are aligned, then the effect would occur. Again, the same principle applies here. So expecting to become a god would not make you a god. Expecting to become a deity does not make you a deity. So it is something like that. So expecting to become a human would not make that come true. And you are just creating causes for you to become a dog, but you are expecting to become a human. You're thinking that you may become a human again, but with the expectation, but doing all the things that would make you a dog. So again, expectation does not play any role here. So you'd end up becoming a dog. So it's just like that. So these are mechanisms. The anicca is again a mechanism. Anicca. So this is the nature of this world. How the world works. Again, how the world works is another meaning of Dhamma. So dukkha, how the world works, is dukkha is also a way how the world works. Anatta is also a way how the world works. So there are various mechanisms or ways how the world works, and that is called Dhamma. And when you consider about Dhamma, Sankhara also falls under Dhamma, because these are called Sankhara Dhamma. Rupa Dhamma, then there's the Vedana Dhamma, Sanya Dhamma, Sankara Dhamma, Vijnana Dhamma. Everything, Anicca Dhamma, Dukkha Dhamma, Anatta Dhamma. Deva Dhamma, Deva Dhamma means godly Dhamma. And then you can say human Dhamma, Sattva Dhamma or animal Dhamma. You can apply, this is just like the blueprint. It is not the house, it is not the building, but the blueprint. If you act on the blueprint, you get the building. Just something like that. It is not just created, but how the things are created is done. So it is also anatta. Anatta means essenceless. So we have understood a part of anatta while we are discussing anicca. So we understood that it is a pointless journey or a pointless act if you get attached to something. It is not getting a it would not get a fruitful beneficial outcome if you get attached to something. The that is that is a way of seeing anatta or essencelessness, pointlessness. So again, here when we apply it to Dhamma, we are seeing Sankhara as well as all the mechanisms and everything else as anatta, pointless. Again, knowing anicca, now we are saying that knowing anicca is also pointless. Yes, when you complete the Arya pathway and when you become fully enlightened, you don't even need anatta. You don't even need anicca dukkha anatta. Yes, you would help others by preaching others that telling you also can come this pathway, come on this pathway, and you can also can become enlightened and get rid of suffering. Yes, they would do that. For that, they would use anicca dukkha anatta. Other than that, there's no need of anicca dukkha anatta for them. It is just like this. You are crossing a river, and this river is so ferocious and it's very agitated. This river is um, has a lot of agitation in it. The water level is so high you cannot cross it on your own by swimming. So you what you do is you get a ramp or a boat, or you do something, you assemble some logs and create something, and you get on that and you cross the river without any problem. After crossing the river, do you want uh, that boat, let's say a boat, you don't want that boat after crossing the river because the job is already done. So if you started attaching to the boat and started carrying the boat on your shoulders after crossing, even after crossing the river, then you're still attached to Dhamma. Again, Buddha Dhamma or whatever the Dhamma. So this attachment is the last attachment to go. So we are just removing attachments one by one. We would not be able to do it straight away. It is not just like switching something on and off. It is not that easy. We have so much attachment. So one by one we are cutting them off, and the last one to go is the attachment to Dhamma. And when that is also gone, you are just leaving this boat at the shore, and you are just free to go because you have crossed the road, you have crossed the river. So that is how anatta works. So everything is anatta in that sense. Now you would get this problem. So why then dhamma is not said as anicca? Why then dhamma is not said as dukkha, something like this? Sabbe dhamma aniccati. Why isn't not why is it not like that? Because anicca is also a dhamma. Dukkha is also a dhamma. So if anicca is a dhamma, sabbe anicca aniccati does not doesn't mean anything. It does not have a meaning. And it is um, and you need the pathway initially. So if you do not practice the pathway, you would not get there. So dhamma is how the mechanism works. So mechanism is not said as, let's say 1 plus 1 is is something like a dhamma. It is not exactly a dhamma, but it is a mechanism. It is not uh, uh, it is not something created in this world. It is a what you call it. Uh, we can say it is a idea. So this idea, so if you get one item and if you get another item of that same thing, and if you keep these things together, you should say, now initially there was one and now there's two. So that is 1 plus 1 equals 2. So 1 plus 1 equals 2 does not create suffering. So the sabbe, you cannot say sabbe dhamma dukkhati, because 1 plus 1 is not something that creates dukkha. So for something to become a source of dukkha, it should be something already created. It can be a mind, it can be a thought, it can be a image, can be sound, smells, taste, whatever it is. It should be something created, because if something is created, then only you can apply the effect or the dukkha nature to it. You cannot apply dukkha or suffering to something or that has not created. It is just like applying dukkha to the future. Just the future, when the future comes, it becomes the present, and then it is dukkha. You cannot apply the dukkha to the past, because when you think about the past, you are thinking it right now. You cannot experience a past dukkha. Say somebody scolds at you, but when you're reminding about it, when you're thinking about it again and again, you are doing it right now. So you are suffering not there, but right now. So that's why when after some time, when you get healed, when you think about the same thing, you don't feel suffering. Just feel okay. Yes, I was scolded back then, but I'm over it. I'm okay with that. I don't feel suffering right now. Yes, I have that memory, but memory is not suffering. It is the attachment to not to get scolded or whatever it is that would make that environment of suffering. Since the causes are always created at that point, at that time, the suffering is created then and there. So, so that is how why anicca, dukkha, and anatta, these are, are said in that certain way in these gathas, um, because of this reason. So, so these are the three gathas that we are going to recite, and along with other gathas and other kammatana, the English kammatanas that we have already discussed, we'll go on with the meditation. And if you have any questions regarding this discussion we had right now, we'll have that discussion at the end of the session. You just try to reflect on what we have discussed and uh, what we what we practice during these kammatanas. So a quick reminder about the meditation. So don't try to force yourself into or don't try to uh, what do you call, think very hardly, think very deeply. You just go on a very very light manner, because if you try to just this is not a mathematical, this is not something like a solving mathematics. So solving mathematics, algebra and everything can be tiring to your mind. This should not be like that. Your vipassana could be very shallow, but go with that shallowness. Don't go in depth if you are not comfortable with it. You just move with the flow. You just move. You just apply these theories or apply these ideas in a level that you can bear, that you can control. So you don't go so deep, and you don't what do you call overheat your brain. So just go lightly, and but that does not mean you are just you are just paying attention to the words or sounds that are being said. You have a light vipassana along with the recitation. And when you do that, and initial part, so in these meditations, we are going through a guided meditation, and in the initial part I'll guide you, and then we'll recite these kammatanas, and in the recitation you just try to go with the flow, try to try to go with the flow. And when the Kamatana is ended, then there would be a period of silence for you to think about the Matana or the Anicca Dukkha Anatta Nicca. You have a very big area to play on or to work with. It is not something like you just have to focus on your breathing, and if the mind goes somewhere else, then the meditation is not happening. It is not something like that. You have a very, very big area to what do you call work with, because when you think about anicca, and anicca, everything is anicca, so you can think about anything, but in that fashion. When you think about dukkha and again anatta, you can think about anything, but in that nature, in that way, anicca way, dukkha way, anatta way. So when you do that, when you are doing that, you are still in the meditation process, because you are having nekama sankalpana, avihimsa sankalpana, and avyapada sankalpana, and you are in that category, you are in that range. You are not getting out of that boundary. So you are in a boundary, your mind is maintained, your thought process is maintained in a confined space, but that confined space is very big. So if you get out of that confined space, or if you cross the boundary, then you would go to kama sankalpana, avihimsa sankalpana, and Vihinsa Sankappana. Vihinsa Sankappana and Kama Sankappana, Vyapada Sankappana, and Vihinsa Sankappana. That means you are not now focusing on Anicca Dukkha Anatta, but you are again focusing back on Avijja or Nicca Sukha Atta Sukha, the opposite of Anicca Dukkha Anatta. That should not happen. That is getting out of the meditation. So with that um, small reminder, we'll start with the meditation. So be in a seated posture preferably, and have your back straight, and be in a surrounding or be in a environment that is calm and quiet, and where there are no much things going on, sounds going on, and have your eyes closed or half closed, whatever you prefer, and focus on the breathing for the first few seconds of our meditation. And when you do that, we are not focusing on just breathing, we are focusing on the element of air, because element of air has less attachments. They are just molecules, and this molecular nature of air is very light. It's not rough. It's very easy to handle. And you cannot stress that, because if you try to crush air, it would just slip between your fingers. So it is just like the air is invincible, or the air is has this nature where it you cannot make it suffer. It just slips out of your fingers. So just focus on the column of air that is passing up and down through your nasal passage. Focus on how smooth that is. You can always change your posture if your current posture is uncomfortable for you. There's no problem in changing postures. It is something we do with our mind and not with your body. So that's why you can even walk while meditating. So be like you're not stick to one thing. Just change accordingly. You're not just thinking about the quality of air, but you are trying to act like the quality of air. Think about free. Think about calm. Think about lightness. Think about floating while you are focusing on the air. Be mindful of where your thoughts process goes. So focus on your thought process because now you feel light and you feel your body is less weight. You feel your body lighter than before with a very mild floating sense. And in this mindset, just focus on your thought process, whether it goes towards Nitya Sukhatha, whether you still go after attachments with your thoughts. If you do, find the main cause, the point where you attached, and see that as Anicca Dukkha Anatta, because that thing is making your mind restless. It is making your mind to think in that specific area, and that is tiring because we want to be calm, peaceful, quiet, even inside our heads. Don't worry if you don't feel that floating sensation or something different. Just focus on what we just discussed. What kind of thoughts are troubling you the most? What kind of thoughts are making you restless? What kind of thoughts are making your peaceful, calm nature go away? Do these thoughts are that valuable? Now this is Samatha and Vipassana. Now we did a little bit of Vipassana to calm our minds, and now we'll go on with Samatha, and we'll recite these gathas which emphasizes on the qualities of Supreme Buddha, and where I will be reciting these. If you know, sing or recite along with me. If you don't, just focus on these gathas and focus on the meaning as well. But as discussed, don't try to overheat your mind. Don't try to agitate your mind with thinking. Just go in a smooth manner. So bhagava iti pi arahang arahang vate so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi samma sambuddho samma sambuddho vate so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi vicacharana sampanno vicacharana sampanno vateso bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi sugato sugato vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi vicacharana sampanno vicacharana sampanno vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi lokavidu lokavidu vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti pi anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි බුද්ධෝ බුද්ධෝ වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි භගවා භගවා වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි භගවා භගවා වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි බුද්ධෝ බුද්ධෝ වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සෝ භගවා ඉතිපි අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති වතසෝ භගවා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස So bhagava iti lokavidu lokavidu vatato bhagava namo tasse bhagavato arahato Amma sambuddhassa so bhagava iti sugato sugato vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa so bhagava iti vidyacharana sampanno vidyacharana sampanno vata so bhagava Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa so bhagava iti samma sambuddho Samma sambuddho vatato bhagava Namo tasse bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa So bhagava iti arahang arahang vate so bhagava namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa focus on your thought process, like you are seeing at your thought process as a bystander from a third person view. So you would see how your mind works, how your mind moves, creating trains of thoughts, just like a untamed monkey going after food. Seeing that mindset with a wise mind itself would cut the fuel that feeds that kind of mindset. There's no need to get disappointed. Remember that expectation does not have any role here. See the uncontrollable nature of your mind. We are not trying to control the uncontrollable. We are trying to just focus and reason out rationally, letting our mind to sink these concepts in. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. Let's focus on all the sentient beings, including myself. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the samsaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of samsara, may get freed from the fear of samsara, may get freed from the flames of samsara, may get freed from the burning samsara, may get freed from the sorrowful samsara, may get freed from the sansaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of samsara, may get freed from the ocean of samsara, may get freed from the desert of samsara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below us. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. Let's focus on all the sentient beings, including myself. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the samsaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of samsara, may get freed from the fear of samsara, may get freed from the flames of samsara, may get freed from the burning samsara, may get freed from the sorrowful samsara, may get freed from the sansaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of samsara, may get freed from the ocean of samsara, may get freed from the desert of samsara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Body is an ocean that cannot be filled with touches. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Body is an ocean that cannot be filled with touches. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. Eyes are an ocean that cannot be filled with images. Ears are an ocean that cannot be filled with sounds. Nose is an ocean that cannot be filled with smells. Tongue is an ocean that cannot be filled with taste. Body is an ocean that cannot be filled with touch. Mind is an ocean that cannot be filled with thoughts. World is an ocean that cannot be filled with gratification. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe sankhara dukkati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe dhamma anattati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe sankhara dukkati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe dhamma anattati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe sankhara dukkati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya sabbe dhamma anattati yada panyaya passati ata nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya Now again, focus on the breathing with the intention of ending this meditation session and going back to the normal state. And slowly open your eyes. And if you have any questions regarding today's session or the initial part where we discussed about anicca, dukkha, and anatta, it's Q&A time. You can put those questions into the chat or you can speak up. And if you don't have any questions, we can wind up the session after Anumodana. So there's a question posted in the chat. I'm a little confused, so I'm asking question. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. Does this mean that any and every sankhara is itself dukkha? Does this mean that any and all sankharas result in dukkha? Or both? So the thing is, sankhara has an element of dukkha in it. Think about it. When you do something, whether it's about chewing a delicious piece of wood, the part where you do the chewing or grinding in your mouth is dukkha. Because if you don't have that piece of food in your mouth and you are asked to do the same act, you would feel the dukkha. You are asked to do 100 mathematical questions, solve these math problems. Again, that would be dukkha. But thinking about something you like masks that sankhara dukkha with the blissfulness, the delusional blissfulness. So every sankhara, whether it's about mixing concrete, whether it's about hard labor, whether it's about desk jobs, whether it's about eating, watching television, you have to do the act of watching. And if you are asked to watch on a piece of blank paper for 1 hour, because you would be doing the same thing, but you'd be looking at the television instead of a white paper. If you looked at a white paper for 1 hour, you would realize that watching is tiring, it's suffering. If you have a chewing gum, you have a gum in your mouth and it's full of nectar or sweet taste, you would not feel the tiredness in your muscles, jaw muscles. But if you are asked to chew on a piece of rubber or chewing gum without the nectar, then you would feel that. You would not want to do that. You would feel the suffering sensation. So that's why Sankhara itself is dukkha. That's why it is called Sankhara dukkha. One of the main dukkhas, one of the three. So everything, again, this meditation, we created things. That part is dukkha. But this is the pathway to end all dukkha. So this dukkha has a great meaning. It's not going to end without any benefit. The benefit would be eternal, and the benefit would end all the suffering for good. So this dukkha is okay. It's not, we are not going to say that this is not a dukkha. This is a dukkha, a suffering. But a suffering you should go through to get all or to eliminate all the sufferings. So yeah, in that sense, every sankhara has an element of dukkha in it. Are they both? Does this mean that any and all sankharas result in dukkha? Yes, that is also true. Not always, but because, yeah, you can say always true. Because all the sankharas, when you do the sankhara, something is created. So when you chew food, what is created? Taste. Because food particles start touching your tongue, creating taste. And there's the act of grinding. And that breaks down the food particles. That is also an act. So when you do something or when you do sankhara, something is created or something is changed. That is called abhisankhara, and the result is sankhata, the outcome, the change of object or just creating something new. That is the end of action or sankhara. So when you create something, you created it because you thought it was good. Otherwise, you would not have created it. So sankhara would lead to dukkha because what you created is a gain of anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature. Something that can get stolen, something that can be broken, something that can get shattered, something that gets deteriorated moment by moment, and in the end would end in demise. So, so that's what you created. Created something you cannot say useless, but pointless, because at the end that is going to end in demise. Deterioration is happening all the time. So that's why, yes, both are true in that sense. And when you get all the sankharas out of the system, that is sabba sankhara samato etang santang etang panitang. That is the blissfulness. That is the essence. What is the essence? What is the blissfulness? Yatitan sabba sankhara samato. To eliminate all the sankharas, so that that sort of dukkha is not there, going to be not there. The resulting things, which are also the objects of dukkha, are also not going to be created because the sankharas are not going to happen. That is why the sanya vedaita nirodha, the nirodha samapatti, or where the mind stops functioning in a very new uh, platform or a very different platform where the body is still alive, but your mind just cuts off, your breathing cuts off, your only the temperature of the body would be there. Other than that, there would be nothing else, no metabolic activities, nothing, heart would stop. That kind of blissfulness is said to be the nearest that you can achieve to Nibbana. But it is not Nibbana, but something like a experience of a flick of Nibbana. When you come back only, you would be able to remind and see that it was so blissful because there was no dukkha at all. So that's why the sankhara, elimination of all sankharas, is a way to blissfulness. I hope that's clear. Okay. So, so if you don't have any questions, then we'll wind up the session. Mrs. Champika, what do you gonna do?
Yes, Therwan Saranai, Swamin Wahanse. As usual, we are going to end the session now. Um, there are 3 Anumodana blessings. We
I
need,
think we'll end this meditation session, and we'll start another session again because there would be only 3 or 2 individuals joining that Anumodana. So we'll
yes,
end and then again start.
okay, Swamin Wahanse. So let's end the session, and then those who are joining the session for the Anumodana, please rejoin. Yeah, Mrs. Kim and Sean Kim and Park John. Those are the 3. Sorry if I'm pronouncing the names incorrectly. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So today we had a discussion initially about Anicca Dukkha Anatta and tried to understand the reality of the world or just think about the reality of the world. And then we went on with the uh, meditation. And since we were contemplating on Anicca Dukkha Anatta or the reality of the world, that is the highest meritorious deed or the highest punya kriya that we can achieve because that would eliminate all the suffering in the end. So that's the biggest thing that you can get. So we have been doing that for 2 hours, more than 2 hours now. So the amount of meritorious power that was generated through these actions is immeasurable, and that meritorious power would definitely help you to attain Nibbana as soon as possible. So all the meritorious power that we gathered today may agglomerate together, creating the perfect background for everyone to understand the Supreme Dhamma, the Anicca Dukkha, the nature of the world, opening up the eyes of wisdom and completing the Arya pathway, the noble eightfold pathway, and the environment for that to happen may may occur within you and around you, and in that perfect background everyone complete their pathways, attaining enlightenment, attaining Nibbana, ending this dreadful samsaric journey. Accept this blessing with a sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu.
And also with this meritorious power, all the deceased relations of this samsaric journey, of this life and previous lives, and also the ones who helped us during this samsaric journey, teachers, parents, and the ones who constructed our surroundings, vicinities, buildings, houses, roads, and also the ones who gave us jobs and who make our work easier, the ones who are around us, helping us, like our spouses, children, brothers, sisters, and all the ones who we did not mention, and all the people who made this meditation a possibility, the ones who are helping to the main for the maintenance of these temples, and also the ones who are sponsored for these devices and internet connections and everything. Let's remind all of them as well, and also the ones who were harmed and hurted by our actions. We have been using the 10 unwholesome acts as our basic tools of survival, hurting and killing and doing various bad things to others. And let us understand our faults. Let us determine ourselves that we are not going to do those kind of wrong things again. And with that determination, let us um, transfer this meritorious power to them as well as a compensation to all the wrongdoings that we have done towards those sentient beings as well. And also let us remind all the deities of 6 realms of gods and 20 planes of Brahma, and also all the sentient beings in the universe as well. And let us transfer this meritorious power to all of them, regardless of wherever they are in this universe, irrespective of their current state of being. Let us may they rejoice on these meritorious deeds. May they rejoice on these meditation sessions, Dhamma discussions, and everything. And may they be delighted and happy seeing these meritorious deeds. And by that, may they develop or generate immeasurable meritorious power. And if they are in miserable places, may they refrain from those places. And if they are doing any sinful acts, may they refrain from doing those sinful acts. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and uh, may they lead happy lives with life, comfort, refreshness, power, and wisdom, and at the end complete their journeys, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana, ending their suffering sansara. Accept this blessing and transfer this meritorious power to all of them with metta and kindness by reciting sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I'll end this session by reciting this blessing to all of you. Abhivadana Siris Nichang Vaddha Pichayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukhambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminate Samichyatu. May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much for coming to conduct the session and helping us to develop our path to Nibbana. Swamin Wahansa, we would like to chant a small verse and appreciate your kind gesture. Silavantang, Gunavantang, Punyaketang, Anuttarang, Durlabene maya laddhang vanditum passitum varang Sariputtaditeranang agatang patipatiya Saddha sila daya vasang buddha puttang Namamahang sadhu sadhu. So everyone, thank you for joining the session. We will end the session now. Those who are joining the blessings, Anumodana blessings, please rejoin. Thank you.
Everyone Sarnai.
Everyone, sir.
Saranagi.